Well, I mean, my interest is to prove to people that they have within their reach all the tools necessary to make significant changes in their bodies or in their lives. And my passion is to take complex scientific information, and science is the contemporary language of mysticism, and to simplify it in a way that's translatable. And I now know that if you give people that information based on science, and you combine a little quantum physics with a little neuroscience, with a little neuroendocrinology, with a little psychoneuroimmunology, the mind-body connection, and you throw in some epigenetics, that all of those sciences point the finger at possibility. And as we learn new information, we make new connections in our brain. And there's physical evidence when we learn something that is left in our brain, footprints of consciousness that reflect our interaction in the environment. But if learning is making those connections, then remembering is being able to maintain them and sustain them. So I now know if you give them the right information, and then they can turn to the person next to them and they can explain it. If they can explain that information and create a model of understanding, they're beginning to install the neurological hardware in their brain in preparation for an experience. So the more people understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, the how gets easier. So we start off with theory. We start off with philosophy. We start off with intellectual knowledge. But as people begin to share that information, if you can't explain that model to me, then it's not wired in your brain. But if you can explain it now, the process of repeating it and understanding it is firing and wiring new circuits in the brain. Now the person is priming their brain for a future event. If I can set up the conditions in the environment and give people the proper instructions, and they can get their behaviors to match their intentions, their actions equal to their thoughts, if they can get their mind and body working together, they're going to have a new experience. Now, the experience of what they're having, embracing in that moment, enriches the philosophical circuits in the brain. More connections are laid down to what experience does. But the moment those neurons string into place, into networks, the brain makes a chemical. And that chemical is called a feeling or an emotion. And the moment they start to feel whole or unlimited or empowered or invincible or compassionate or have a love for life, now they're teaching their body chemically to understand what their mind is intellectually understood. So we can say that knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. And in that moment, they're embodying the truth of that philosophy. And now the research shows that genes don't create disease. It's a fact that it's the environment that signals the gene that begins to change its expression. Well, the end product of an experience is called an emotion. So when a person begins to feel the emotion from the experience, they're literally rewriting their biological program and signaling new genes in new ways. And genes are like Christmas tree lights. They're turning on and off all the time. So the moment the person starts to have a new experience, that's new information. And that new information begins to regulate genes. And genes make proteins. And proteins are responsible for the structure and function of your body. And the expression of proteins is the expression of life. And in that moment, they can literally downregulate a gene for disease and upregulate a gene for health. We've measured it. So then, that's great. Doing it once means that you should be able to do it again. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to reproduce any experience, it's going to become a skill or a habit. So the repetition of an experience begins to neurochemically condition your mind and body to begin to work as one. In other words, when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it as well as your mind, now it's innate in you. It's second nature. It's who you are. It's who you're becoming. And that's my passion, because when a person reaches that level, now they're beginning to master that philosophy. They're embodying it. It's part of their fabric. And it becomes almost a subconscious program. It's just naturally who they become. They know how they do it, but they don't know how they know how, because it's become an automatic process. So when I see emails where people start off with, "You're not going to believe this," in the beginning, it was exciting, but it's happening so many times now that we have a community of people that are applying a very specific formula, and that all of the research that we've done over the last 8 years has helped us to refine that formula. And if you follow the formula and eliminate everything else that's not part of the formula and refine it, it will become a skill. And then you'll have access to begin to make those changes. So for me, we're at a point right now where so many of our students are experiencing the miraculous, not just like changing their thyroid hormones, although that's important, and we've gotten a lot of those, but now we're talking about brain tumors disappearing. We're talking about blind people seeing, not once, not twice, not 3 times. We're talking about deaf people that can't hear, all of a sudden get their hearing back. Tumors shrinking. In 7 days, the person comes with a tumor. At the end of the event, the tumor's gone. I mean, these are the miraculous. And I guess for me, I never thought in my lifetime, really, that I would be witnessing what I'm witnessing today. So how do I feel about that? I'm super humble. I'm super empowered and excited. And my interest is to push the envelope. In other words, if you just healed yourself of some chronic health condition, stage 4 cancer, and we have a lot of those, then the next question is, if I healed myself, why can I not heal somebody else? And then once we've developed that skill, we see people healing other people. It's happening all the time in our work. They understand the science behind that. Then the question is, well, if I'm in the field, and in the field I'm connected to everyone and everything, do I really need to be present to heal a person who's sick? And all I need is a picture of them. And if I'm with a group of people and we connect to that field, then I don't need to go there to heal them. So now we have people, as an example, we had a person in our event in Cancun in June whose brother had a massive stroke and went into a coma. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and she was there, and she called up her healing group, said, here's the picture of my brother. We've healed somebody in the last event. We should be able to heal him. Let's go to the next level of philosophical understanding. In 1 hour after that healing, he came out of his coma. He left the hospital that night. Now, that's the next level. So then you keep developing through experience. In other words, if you don't have the experience of healing yourself or healing another, you can't do that. Really, it's methodical, right? So we have a group of people that are stepping out of the known and pushing the envelope. And because they're not afraid to fail, because they know how to get beyond themselves, because they know how to connect, because they know how to open their hearts, they put it all together. And you keep adding more of the formula and the skill, sooner or later you're going to keep doing the uncommon. And that's my interest.